Hey, welcome back to Kuma Reviews. This is TJ, and we're taking a look at Sentinel's metamor-force Steel Jeeg. This one's Jeeg-Fried. Now, this is a transforming version of Jeeg. I don't know if this is an original character. I believe it is. I've never seen any anime or manga of it, but if you're like me and you haven't, they actually include a comic with it as well. Like, I'm not going to go through this in full or anything like that, but pretty cool stuff. And as another bonus, they include a full-on, let me zoom out a bit, a full-on Dino Getter manga too, which is really cool because that's another set of metamor-force items that I didn't have the most familiarity with at all. I ended up reading them after the fact, but after I bought them years back, but it's nice to actually have a hard copy here to put in my display with those items and stuff like that. Always cool swag, always cool to learn. But, alright, so it comes with Jeeg-Fried, its pilot, it's inside of its helmet. We'll go over the transformation and stuff like that. Jeeg bazookas, mock drills, as well as Bulmet, his sword, and a variety of hands. So it also comes with the knuckle bomber hands. Now, it doesn't do the rocket punch thing where its forearms can disconnect from the arms, so that kind of stinks, but it can at least, hold his hands together. More of a heaven and hell, Galgagar kind of thing. But yeah, let's go ahead and dig into this. We'll look at the alt mode, we'll look at the bot mode, its articulation, its accessories, all that good stuff, and we'll even get him next to the other Sentinel Nagai bots like Mazinger, Mazinkaiser, and Grendizer. So let's get going. Okay, so this version of Jeeg is actually a headmaster. So if you're familiar with Transformers and stuff like that, headmasters are ones to where they are, the main body is actually not, what's the word that I'm looking for, where it has like a mind of its own and stuff like that. I'm going to think of it, of course, after I'm done recording this or whatever, but anyway, it's actually controlled by the more miniature. Sometimes they're just straight up robots, sometimes they're aliens, sometimes they're, but this time it's a human, Hiroshi. And in terms of articulation, the head doesn't have any articulation. The arms, they just spin around. Legs, they are actually permanently together, so they don't spread or anything like that. And then move at the hips, move at the knees. The feet can go up and down. That's more for the transformation into its headmaster mode and sitting inside of its vehicle mode than anything. But yeah, that's what you get. Alright, and here it is in alt mode. We'll go ahead and get it transformed on this video and stuff like that too. But just to check out the alt mode, okay, pilot's actually able to fit right inside, and I love that it actually has a tab in there as well. Alright, closing the hatch down. Now, the mock drills, the Jeeg bazookas, they can actually attach to this guy. In fact, go ahead and attach his sword just on the side there. The way that you attach the drills and bazooka, I'm trying to find where they attach to each other. It's right here. They just tab into each other. I'll do that side. Then I'll do this side. And if you look here on the soles of the feet from the side, I'm actually going to brighten it up here. It's looking kind of dark for me. I don't know how it is for you guys, but how do I do that? Like that. Okay. But these dark sole parts are actually magnets. And then these on both sides are magnets as well. So they stick in, boom. And they hold okay. I mean, you can still move the car with it and stuff like that. That's using the magnet and stuff like that. But obviously, I would have rather, I'm big on like friction and things holding and locking in place and stuff like that. So I would have preferred that they were actual pegs. But if you know about the actual mecha itself, it having magnetized parts is huge. It's such a big part of the mecha. The way that it forms in the series, just no matter what Jeeg it is, it kind of has a bunch of parts that like all magnetized to each other and this and that. It's hard to describe. Watch the anime. It's actually one of my favorite Negai mecha characters or mecha whatever. Favorite Negai mecha. It grew on me a lot over the years. I was just talking to my friends about that. But yeah, it having something that magnetized, if you actually are familiar with it, you'll understand why that's actually huge, even if it's not necessarily preferred from a toy perspective. But you can see it rolls on all four wheels and this and that, which is really cool. I dig the look. And a transforming Jeeg, like, god dog. So, one thing that a lot of people pointed out is that it has a very similar transformation to the Fans Project Function X series code. So we'll actually get these off. We already showed that off. Boom. Boom. Okay. And they are similar type vehicles. Get the sword off so it's completely clean. And the transformation is very similar. Now, I believe it was Jazai Toys that designed this guy. I'm not sure if he also worked with Sentinel on this, but I mean, similar vehicles, shared transformations, that's pretty common throughout toys in general. I don't know why it's been made such a big deal out of. Well, it's more of a vocal minority that are kind of like, oh, it's Fans Project Chrome Dome, blah, blah, blah. It's almost like if you guys cared that much about Fans Project, you should have supported Fans Project when they were actually making toys. It seems more just like you don't know who this character is, so you're trying to relate it to Transformers in any way possible, which is a whole nother weird thing and frustration or whatever. Great community. But yeah, similar vehicle styles, similar transformations. Personally, I think it's pretty cool. Now, one thing that I do wish is that because this designer is so creative and this and that, and they're sliding parts, and we'll go over the transformation in a second, you'll see it if you haven't already seen it on code itself. It'd be nice if somewhere in the instructions they kind of gave him a shout out or something like that, just to recognize the guy's creativity, you know? But yeah, there it is. Okay, now we have him in bot mode. Height, he doesn't do all the ab crunching and stuff like that, so no worries about any variance there. Due to posing, it's about 7.5 inches on the dot actually to the tip of his helmet. Give you guys a roundabout. I love that even though it's a bit boxy, they still managed to give it kind of a V-taper aesthetic and stuff like that. I really, really like that. And it's not just because of the slide-up panel and things like that that makes for the torso, but also the fact that, like, these flaps that are, like, the back fenders and things like that, they stick out a little bit more than the parts of the vehicle mode that make the waist or whatever. So it all just goes in line. And you don't see that a lot with Transformers that have so much going on inside of the torso. The fact that it manages to actually keep that figure, it's really cool. So, and that's not just gassing it up or anything like that, because it's by no means perfect, but that's really cool. Gotta give credit where due. Now, for articulation, the head, it goes in here, all right? And again, LR44 battery underneath makes it so much easier to play with. All right, upward and downward neck tilt, 360 head movement. All right, no side-to-side rock or anything like that. Shoulders, parallel, just straight parallel with the ground. Shoulder pads do move. 360. Now, no bicep swivel, but it does have swivel at the elbow joint, which constitutes for it. Single jointed elbow bend, but it goes well past that 90 degrees, which is cool. Due to the transformation, there is some rock in the elbow or not the elbow, the wrist this way, but I mean, that looks weird. But no like actual rock, like natural or anything like that. It does rotate though. The hands, they just pop off. They normally pop off fairly easy. All right, ball joint there. But you can see they stay well. Waist, no back bend, ab crunch. It does have a 360. And if you're familiar with this transformation, you know, Josiah, the guy that came up with it, that's one of those things that's absolutely genius, because you see in the transformation that basically the torso slides down in to the back here or whatever, yet they make it so that it's able to like literally morph from being like down here to up here while still maintaining the waist swivel and stuff like that. It's really freaking cool. Now, thighs, outwards, oops, forward, backwards, no movement in like the crotch plate or anything like that. Now, it does have 360 thigh swivel or whatever too. Because of the transformation, it has another swivel at the knee. I wish that actually locked, because that gets kind of wonky at times. And it actually can, like, forward and back knee bend. So you got to watch for that or whatever when posing. But knee bend, just pretty much 90 degrees right there. All right? Nothing else that you're supposed to have in the legs, like, outside of transformation stuff. But ankle tilt, the back and forth rock in there. And he does have some movement in the front of that toe, nothing in the heel. Alright. Now, one thing that I wish that it could do, that it doesn't have the ability to separate the forearms that I've seen. Nope. I just wanted to make sure, because it wasn't in the instructions or anything like that. And pull this guy off. Because his variants of the rocket punch actually just with his hands connected. Okay, so we went over his articulation, looked at the knuckle bomber hands, which is that kind of grasping heaven and hell like deal that we had at the end of the last segment. Now we'll go ahead and look at his weapons. So, let's start with his blade. It's Balmung, the god sword here. And I do like that his weapon hands are pretty much all-inclusive. I don't know what the millimeter size is. I don't quite think they're 5 millimeter. They might be. Yeah, they probably are 5 millimeter. But when it comes to the sword, it doesn't really hold it tight. And that kind of stinks. Right. There's that. Just because it's so wobbly in his hands, I don't really want to do any poses. I'll leave that for the gallery. There are 2 spots on his back that you can peg him in. And you know what? I'm going to say that's 3 millimeter, not 5 millimeter, the peg size. No. This is 5 millimeter. That's just 3 millimeter right there. I don't know why I thought they were the same thing, but let's go ahead and look at his mock drill. Jeeg staple. Cool stuff. Let me make sure I've got the right side for the top side. Okay, cool. So the way these work, they split. Pick in. Boom. And boom. Alright. So just like when he was in vehicle mode, I'm going ahead and attach those bazookas to the back here. And these are really lightweight weapons, so don't feel like he's just got 1,000,000 pounds on his hands or anything like that. Weighing him down. And he has strong joints too. It's a well put together figure. Okay. And I believe he can plant his foot there. Yeah, don't want to do him a disservice there. Okay. I wish that he had a little bit more downward movement on that neck. There we go. Alright, so I want to show off the bazooka here too, at least one of them. So the way that this works, alright, so you got this here. You also have this guy that can flip up from the back. Boom. Like so. And then just like the mock drills, they split. Come on, boom, boom. Zoom in a bit. And the other hand is the grasping hand. So ending this here, I've got the Nagai 4. So we got Shin Mazinger, Kaiser, Jeeg-Fried, and Grendizer. So obviously these are their takes on these mecha, and they've done a good job. The scale, all over the place. I hate what they did with it. Since Kaiser was the start, I wish that they would have worked around that and made them proper, because like things like Grendizer is absolutely humongous, this and that. Yeah, that kind of bugs me, but at the same time, if they made Grendizer to scale with him, they'd have to upscale his Robo Spazer and stuff like that, which is shown here, and I understand why, but I just wish it was a better scale. But just looking at them aesthetically, it's a really, it works. They all really do fall in line with each other. And this one, even though it's transforming and stuff like that, it still manages to match the rest of their crew. So, I mean, if you've already dove into these guys, Jeeg's a great fit. And even if you haven't, you just want Jeeg-Fried by itself, honestly, it's a really cool freaking toy. Really cool, really creative. I love that it comes with its own fiction and stuff like that, as well as the bonus, Dino Getter comic and things like that. But the MSRP, so it's around $330, $340 at a lot of places. I've heard some of the overseas places have it for like within the 200s. But honestly, if I were to price this thing, even being die-cast, it's a good size and whatnot, engineering, good amount of accessories, I would say that $250 shipped, absolute fastest shipping tops, meaning that this toy would probably be something that I'd put like $200 to $210 if I had to personally price it. And normally I don't price things. I say, hey, your dollar is worth whatever you want to spend it on, but at the current MSRP for this guy, I just don't see it as cool as it is. And it's not a knock on the product, it's a knock on that designer brand MSRP. You know, Sentinel's got to do better with that. But as a product, it's solid. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. And as always, check out the written article and gallery on kumastyle.com. Be well, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.